Word, and we're back. We're back. What's good, Kev? What's good? Good morning.
What's good, brother? Back at it again.
Yeah, so I mean, this one has to do with recent events. Last week was just the end of the first live period, and I know we've been talking about it privately. Just before we get started, let's explain what the live period is for the listeners. Just briefly explain the dynamics of what makes it different than any other time during the AAU season or even the winter season.
Yeah, it's a different tournament than most. Most tournaments are big, but this is bigger than most because it's a chance for college coaches to get out and evaluate the players. Some college coaches haven't seen a lot of the players, especially some of the freshmen, juniors. But pretty much a lot of them are on the radar. So it gives them a chance to get out and see how much have they improved. It's really not. It's not it's not as big as what a lot of people make it, especially like the first few live periods in the spring. But again, it's a tool, it's an evaluation tool the colleges use to evaluate talent in which, either you improved or you didn't.
Also, I think is worth noting is also an opportunity for colleges to, I believe, contact players, right, and get involved with their recruiting process, be a little more intimate in their communication style, opposed to watching from the sidelines and sending the generic, contact email or whatever the case may be. But
Yeah, they can contact them, piece, but they can't contact them, I believe, until their beginning of their 11th grade year.
yeah,
The player can contact the coaches, but the coaches cannot contact the players.
word, I stand corrected. But I mean, really, let's get into the gist of why we wanted to talk about that. Everyone's I see various tournaments around the country playing. And we see a lot of players and parents, showcasing their experience at these live tournaments. What are your thoughts on the players and or parents' approach that you've seen over the years and what you've seen recently?
Over the years, I mean, I can only speak about my program. So over the years, I've talked to the parents about how they approach the live period and exactly what it is. It's an evaluation tool. It's not an end all be all, which if you go, you play bad or you don't perform up to the level that you think that you should play, it's not the end of the world. I think these college coaches, and I've had a chance to talk to numerous of them. Again, it's just an evaluation tool. They want to see whether or not, all right, that good freshman who was in ninth grade, how much has she improved? Does she, is she able to shoot the ball? Is she able to take contact? Because in AAU, it's a lot more physical in AAU than in like a regular tournament or even your high school season because they have an hour to get inside the game. They don't want it to call it like a regular high school game where you're calling every other foul. So they want to see whether you handle stress. How do you handle pressure situations? And I feel like especially like live period, when you know everyone wants to perform at a certain level, you're going to see, who's competitive, who's not competitive, who's going to whine about every call, who has an attitude, who's a great team player. So all of this comes into full circle of what how the players' makeup is, and that's what the college coaches want to see. They they're not handing out scholarships over this stuff, but they want to be able to write on their pad like, hey, she's someone that we should look at, or she's not someone that is built for our program.
How do you perceive parents to take advantage of this opportunity? What have you seen their relationship has been with the live period versus other seasons or other moments within a season?
There's twofolds. I mean, I've always told parents that they should be reaching out to college coaches and letting them know where they're going, what court they're on, to make them aware. Because what parents don't understand is it's hard for the college coaches to find them because there are so many teams. And like one college coach said, it's so saturated with the amount of teams at these tournaments that it's hard for the college coaches to evaluate. I mean, I remember talking to one last summer, and I'm talking to her, and she's telling me like, Kevin, how do you how do you evaluate all these people? It's like and because like you're talking about what piece 30, 40 courts, sometimes 50 courts, and every hour teams are playing every hour on these courts. It's saturated. It's, how do you tell whether a player can play because sometimes their competition does is not the greatest competition, and they may dominate that competition on the court, So, I mean, I think the parents' expectations in my program are great just because I've managed expectations and managed them how the live period is going to go. And I've prepared the teams the way it should. Because to me, it's about toughness, right? If you prepare like, hey, I'm going to go out on the floor and show toughness, effort, I think everything falls into place. When you go out on the floor and you're looking to score every time, and you're looking to do certain things to impress the college coaches, usually has the opposite effect. Because uh, parents need to understand at their level, at the college level, they already have players to put the ball in the basket. They already have players that are at that level that can do that. So what they're looking for is, are you a great teammate? How do you handle hard coaching? How do you handle being sitting on the bench? Are you clapping on the bench? Or are you being there and being upset that you're on the bench? How are you a teammate? Are you picking your teammate up? Are you encouraging them on the floor? Because they already know, like, offensively what you can do. How do you separate yourself from the pack? Are you playing defense? Are you rotating? Are you talking? So things like that, I believe, are the things that they're evaluating, where most people and most players and parents think they're evaluating where you put the ball in the basket. I know some players are getting scholarship not putting the ball in the basket. Like, take for instance, the year that Kenneth Squire played for us, she didn't average a lot of points. I believe she averaged like 9 points during the whole live period between the spring and the summer. 9 points. I'll say it again, 9 points. But then you look across the board what she averaged. She averaged 9 points, 8 rebounds, 6 or 7 assists, 5 or 6 steals, like all across the board. And that's what got her noticed because college coaches seen like her overall skill. I think players who want to garner that level of attention, they need to have that overall skill of showcasing at a tournament. And sometimes it's not about scoring.
Something that I think is powerful that you said was at times there's what 30 courts, 30 games happening every hour. I mean, it truthfully is a fight for attention. And I think part of the sell that a lot of AAU teams or even, tournament venues is, oh, these coaches are coming here. But it's like you have to understand, like these coaches, they either have particular players or teams that they're already going there looking for. They're not just walking in the building for no reason, walking around and, diddly daddling, right? They have intention. They're looking for certain players. But something I want to get your opinion on is because we've experienced teams in the past, and I feel as if the results of college coaches came after wins. I feel as if a lot of players, or not players, teams go to these tournaments saying, "Oh, we're here, we're competing for these college coaches." What do you have to say about just simply being present and playing in these games versus actually being present and winning and earning your spot to get the attention to play in front of these college coaches?
Well, I think winning obviously is important, right? And it's important for the AAU club. It's important for parents that are looking because I think at the high school level, I think if you're playing at level below, I don't really think winning is that important at that level. But if you're talking about high school, winning is important, but it's not again, it's not the ultimate thing that these college coaches look at. Um, for instance, if 20-point losses are not 20-point losses. And people may look at that and say, Kevin, what do you mean? What I mean is someone can lose by 20 and have absolutely no chance of winning. And you can look on the court and you can see that. Then there's a 20-point loss that it's very competitive. It doesn't seem like a 20-point loss because the kids are playing hard. The kids are playing good basketball, except for the other team is just a lot better at what they're doing, and maybe more talented. But the game is enjoyable to watch because both teams know how to play basketball. So the college coaches want to see stuff like that. That's something that they can evaluate. They can evaluate that game, that 20-point loss, because it's played at such a good level in which now you can see everyone from both teams. You can see their skill level. You can see like what they do well, what don't they do well. How do you evaluate a team in which they're not showing great effort, they're not very structured? Um, you can't evaluate that as a college coach because you're saying like, okay, the players are going half speed. They won't guard people. They don't know who they have. they're shooting, they're chucking up balls at every time down. So for me, it's like, yes, winning is important because the more you win, the more that you get, because how it works is the more you advance and you get to be on showcase courts, right? And everyone wants to be on the showcase courts, but it's not the ultimate thing because we've been in situations where we've lost, but we've been on courts in which you got 30 college coaches on our court, and we've lost a couple games. It's also the style of play that you play. Like we play an exciting style of fast break basketball. We move the ball like a European team. Okay, we're very unselfish. They want to see that because that translates to the college level for the players that want to go to that level, right? So for me, it's style of play and how much effort your kids are dealing with inside the game so that the college coaches can evaluate you.
How could players manage expectations when they get to these tournaments? Everyone, like you said, everyone's out here thinking, I got to put the ball in the basket. I need to get 10, 15, 20 a game, which is not realistic for every player to go out there on every team to go out there and get, 10, 15 plus. But how can they manage expectations to not only perform well for their team, but also showcase a good showing of their skill sets when they have their opportunity to perform in front of college coaches?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to shock people when I say this, but the live period doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until you're in 11th grade. When you're in 11th grade, then it matters because anything that you do in between is just like a quiz. It's all little tests that you have leading up to your big test and to your final exam, which is your 11th grade year. So if you can put that in perspective and say like, hey, this doesn't matter. It's just a learning experience. So then my 11th grade year, I'm ready to rock and roll and be able to show these college coaches what I can do. But players don't take it that way. Players take these live periods as like the final straw. If they don't perform, if they don't do this, if they don't do that, I'm a terrible player. No one's going to get me. Like, oh, maybe I should go to this AAU because they have this kind of exposure. Absolutely not. Okay, go enjoy yourself because it is a fun time and it is a great experience of parents going and players going, but understand your 11th grade year is where you want to perform. So you have to be under an organization, AAU club team that understands that and starts preparing you for that. Okay, because there's levels to this. As you know, we went into it last year. Like there's levels to it. And if you're not ready for the levels, like you're when you get there, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience. Because I know teams that they go to these events, they show up, they do all the Instagram posts leading up to it. Hey, we're going, we're at this elite tournament, blah, blah, blah. And then when they get there, they get smashed by 30 or 40. And then it looks like it from what the college coaches see and what we see, like you're not supposed to be there. There's no way you should be there. Why are you there? But then that you see them online, they're posting again that their kid is here, their kid is there, their kid is on this elite team, their kid is at this elite, and it's just a mirage. And believe it or not, college coaches look at all of this, and people know who's who. People know who, and I feel like the good players don't do that, right? The good players don't post like that online because they'll let them know like, hey, they had a great game. They'll let them know where they're at. But all the excessive stuff, all the excessive posting about this, that, and the other, they don't do that. The good players don't do that because they don't need to do that because they have the skills. It's the players that that think that's the way to get the attention of the college coaches or of whoever, the other parents, and like they do that stuff. And to me, that's the nonsense of the live period is the people talking about posting stuff that to me they have no business posting about.
Why do you think they do that? Why do you think people are essentially mismanaging their experience by posting excessively or, presenting some element of a facade of the experiences that are going on at these, major tournaments?
I think it's for the outlook, what it looks like. I think a lot. We live in a day and age now where it's what it looks like. It's people want other parents, other basketball people to acknowledge, like, hey, my daughter's good because my daughter's playing on this elite team. That doesn't make your daughter good or your son good, right? what makes your son or daughter good is their skills. And that is the overwhelming factor when you're talking about college coaches. And I think players have to be able to understand this. They are attracted to you by your skill and your skill alone. It's not who you know. Okay. It's not what AAU program you go to, right? You can go to my program, you go to a bigger program, you can go to the best program. It doesn't matter. If your skills dictate that you need to garner that attention, then that's what they're going to. Okay. And use my program as an example. And I make no, I'm my program is a smaller program, right? I'm in a smaller market than most of these other AAU programs, right? I'm not a big club. I don't have, tons of teams that go and compete at that level. I do have teams in which we get to that level, but it's a lead up. I lead them up. I make sure they're doing the right things. So when they're able to go to these tournaments and compete, they're ready. These parents, they go to these clubs that have 3 or 4 layers piece. They'll have four 11th grade teams. You can't tell me there's 4 11th grade teams that are playing at that level. It's not. Okay. They have 3 10th grade teams. They have 5 9th grade teams. And then boys or girls, they're sending them to these elite tournaments. And that's what's watering everything down. And that's what the college coaches are saying. Like, it's watered down. It's too many teams that shouldn't be here. And I believe I spoke on this on previous pods that when I was growing up, they you only went if you were an elite club. You had to have guys. Basically, you had to have dudes that can play. Right? When I went to, we had 7 Division I guys on our team. We had 7. Right. So when we were playing and they matched up us against another team, we played a team from Chicago, but those dudes had 7 Division I teams. And that's what AAU back in the day was all about, is you played good teams when you went away. Now when you go away, you're playing against teams that sometimes you should not be playing against, or inferior competition. And then people are posting that like they're an elite team playing against elite competition, which that is not the case. You're playing against inferior competition, and and then you get these directors that are selling these kids this, like, hey, come to our club. All our teams go. If all your teams are going to these elite clubs, elite tournaments, how's that make you elite? I just think some of this stuff is common sense towards parents, but parents are just not hip to the game because they are being sold an experience, and some of them, frankly, want that experience.
I mean, sheesh, you went in. Pause. But how? I mean, let's conclude it. Let's conclude it. How should players and parents manage the next live period coming up? Uh, Regardless of the club they play at, the grade level, and even the skill set, so to speak.
Yeah, so you have to evaluate like how you did. Okay, did I shoot the ball well? Did I dribble the ball well? Did I dribble with contact well? I just think the live periods for players and parents are a tool that you're also evaluating your kid, because now if you evaluate them, you can find holes in their games or things that they did not do well to make sure that the next live period that they do well. And if you don't use that, you don't use the first live period as a tool, and you use it like, oh, I want to gain her. I don't have any, because now the new day nowadays the new thing is, I don't have any offers. I don't have any offers. And it's no one gets offers, right? People offer you, but you really can't act on your offer. So even if someone, say a college coach did give you an offer, it's not really a valid offer because they know you can't act on it. So it's just something in which they say, I like you. It's not really an offer. Nowadays, kids say that that's an offer. And back in my day, if that was an offer piece, I'd have 150 offers, right? Because back in the day, like, a lot of people were liking, certain players, and nowadays those likes come. People say that they're offers. So for me, it's like, Get away from the hoopla. Get away from like, okay, who's looking at you? What college coach? I don't have any college coaches that are on me. Get away from all that, because that to me is what I call the noise. Get away from the noise, because players, parents, they're all going to talk about a whole lot of stuff that really in the end doesn't mean anything. What means something is your skills. Okay. Be obsessed with your skills, improving your skills. Don't be obsessed with who's looking at you. Because if you're obsessed with your skills and how you shoot the ball, how you dribble, how you take contact, how you finish, what your footwork looks like, that's what's going to get you way further is not under your control. Who looks at you when? It's by chance. It's you got a whole bunch of kids that the college coaches are looking at. It's by chance. It's by luck. Okay, they found me by luck. Everything is luck, the right place, the right time, the right opportunity, and the right person is seeing you. That's what it comes down to. And then if all those line up, you have to show them skill. That's where your part comes in. So you be concentrating on the skill and working every day to improve that skill before the next live period. And I can guarantee you, if you didn't perform well the first live period, then the second live period, you will perform well. And that's what the college coaches want to see. They want to see a progression. If you didn't perform well, how do you act the next live period? Do you follow it up with the same slump that you didn't play well? Or do you follow it up showing improvement?
That's the pod.
Yes, sir.